Hello. Today I want to talk about a new type of application that drones have increasingly been used for, and that is as-built documentation. If you're not sure what that is, you should watch this video. Hey everyone, I'm Varun from Hammer Missions, and in this particular video, I'm going to go through what is as-built documentation and how can drones actually provide a great source of value for as-built documentation. Right, let's have a look. So, as-built documentation is essentially a step that is used by contractors, so construction industry, to be able to essentially, in a very systematic and structured way, deliver what has been built compared to what was designed. So if you think about it, every building has to go through many different phases: the planning phase, the design phase, and then the construction phase. And once the construction phase is over, it's really important for the contractor to legally specify what has been built as opposed to what was designed. And this is really important because obviously we want to make sure that the buildings that we're building are to the spec, to the design, or if there are any changes, what were those changes and have they been tracked? So there are many different reasons why as-built documentation is important, but most importantly, it's about legal compliance and it's about ensuring that our buildings are safe. And it's also about making sure that the right process was followed to be able to create and deliver these buildings. Now, where do drones come in? So in recent years, what's happened is that even though most of the as-built documentation was traditionally done using laser scanning to be able to essentially create highly accurate 3D point clouds of these buildings, nowadays drones are increasingly being used to create as-built documentation. The reason for that is that you've got many buildings that are tall and therefore inaccessible when it comes to laser scanning, and therefore drones form a great means to be able to capture the tall buildings and to be able to create 3D models that are then essentially merged with laser scan data to be able to produce a measured building survey. The same thing applies for not just tall buildings, but also really large areas. And the list goes on. Any structure that you can imagine that might be hard or complex to capture with a laser scanner, now you've got a nice little friendly drone body to that laser scanning workflow that can essentially help you capture as-built documentation to the right spec. Now, given that that's what we know about drones, what workflows and deliverables do we need? So when it comes to workflows and deliverables, one of the things that's really important is to try and identify what building are you trying to capture, or what site are you trying to capture, and what might be the best form of drone data outputs or drone data deliverable for that particular building or site. In fact, I made a whole video on the different types of drone data deliverables. And so if you want to go check out that video after this video, feel free to. But the whole idea is that it all depends on what type of building it is that you're trying to capture. Is it just the facade of a particular building? Is it the entire roof of a building? Is it the whole building in its entirety? So knowing what you're going to be delivering is really important. And that very much dictates what kind of flight plan you'll use and what kind of data output you would use at the very end of the day. And that essentially then also dictates your workflow, and it dictates the whole end-to-end process that you're going to be using to be able to provide that as-built documentation. Now, one of the things that we see commonly when it comes to as-built documentation is that you've got a requirement to not just provide the drone data, but also to be able to upload and overlay design data, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to do design versus build. You want to be able to compare what was built and you want to sort of put that against the design. So sometimes the software you're using to be able to create your 3D models or to be able to create your deliverables should be able to also overlay design files to be able to see whether it matches up, whether it's with the building site plan or whether it's with the underground utility plan or whether it's to do with the actual floor plans. So really important that's done. And to be more precise and concrete, I'm actually planning to do one particular workflow of this in Hammer Missions as the next video so that we can be more concrete and actually go through an end-to-end process on as-built documentation. So hopefully we'll see you in that video, and we look forward to talking more about as-built documentation. But overall, in this video, I wanted to highlight that this is a very interesting application for drones, where drones are very much not taking away from laser scanning, but actually complementing laser scanning and allowing for a much more stronger deliverable at the very end, because you're using laser scanning for what is really good, and you're also coupling it with drones where they really shine. And that's what matters at the end of the day. You've got right tools for the right jobs, all working together to be able to produce that one output. So hopefully this video was interesting. If you haven't come across as-built documentation, please do go check it out. If you have any comments for us, leave them in the comments box. We'll see you in the next video for Knowledge Hub.